Good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. Last night was, I don't know what happened. Seriously, don't know what happened. I hope that this sound is recording now, because last night I have been making videos for months, and as soon as I start talking about Lucifer and the Masonic and get into these symbols, it stops recording. It could be coincidence, but I have a high-end PC and a high-end microphone, a very expensive microphone, and of course saying expensive doesn't make it like unlimited to mistakes or faults or anything. So I had to delete like a 25-minute or a 30-minute video of breaking down everything, but I take things like that as a sign, as maybe I was meant to cover other things. So there's signs everywhere. Signs dominate the industry of all entertainment, all media. Signs. So Linkin Park and Chester. So we'll be going into Chester here, and I hope this is recording. Seriously, I really do hope you can hear me. So Chester was, maybe you can tell me more if you're a Chester fan or like a real Linkin Park fan. Maybe you could educate me more. But so Chester was abused, suffered sexual abuse from an older male friend. He doesn't go into detail. He doesn't go into detail. Now, if this happened to me and I was sexually molested by some male friend, some friend, how is he a friend? I would expose him. I wouldn't give a shit. And look at this. His mother was a nurse. Sorry. His mother was a nurse, while his father was a police detective who worked on child sex abuse cases. What? Like, imagine your father, your own father. Now, my father was murdered in 1993, so I actually share, my story is very similar to these people, that somewhat I was abandoned, like a lot of people were abandoned by the government during the war. My father was murdered during the Troubles, and I have no problem discussing this and discussing who murdered him and exposing the murderers. But people like Chester, they were not able to expose these. Now this is where MKUltra comes into it. Project MKUltra. And I'm using Wikipedia to show independence in my research. I'm not showing you my own biased websites, so you can search for this if you like. Excuse me. So I'm going for dinner with my girlfriend, and I'm going to show you some Masonic buildings. So I'm not going to make this video as long, because I want to get ready and stuff. And so to continue, MKUltra was a CIA mind control program, and this is the code name given. Everything's code and signs, yeah. And NASA, if you don't know the birth of NASA, if you look at the birth of NASA, there is limited information that you can read into the birth of NASA, but when you read in between the lines, that was a bird flew by my window screaming. Did you hear that? I don't know if you picked that up, but that was a bird. So yes, so if you read in between the lines of the NASA and do your research, like Eisenhower and Nelson, Rockefeller, and when you do your research on these guys, you end up finding out that they're Nazis, they funded Nazis. And I'm just going to go into more here. So look at this, just stay with me. So this is actually released for the FBI. Sorry, this was released by the FBI, but this is for everybody. See these logos? These aren't conspiracies. This is actually issued from the government for people to be aware. But this is the thing, you're probably asking, are the government behind this? Most definitely the government are behind this, but there's people in the government that are also exposing this. Don't be thinking that everybody in the government are involved in this, because they're good guys and there's bad guys. Not literal bad guys, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm speaking metaphorically. There's evil people and there's good, but these societies, the Freemasons, the Masonic, they want to weave out the good and keep the bad. So when you look into NASA, read in between the lines that NASA formed by legislation, commissions, committees, backed all this legislation and paperwork by people like Rockefeller. And so you've Project MKUltra and Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip. So as I say, using Wikipedia, Operation Paperclip. Now this is where it all comes from. This is where it all stems from. See all this UFO stuff? All this UFO stuff is backed by huge corporations that want to establish a dominance within people's mindsets. And one of the best ways to control anybody is through sexual manipulation. And Chester, do you get into this, Chester? So his father was a police detective, worked on child sex abuse cases, and Chris was abused. And from what I have found through my research is that he claimed that it was up to 6 years. He was abused for 6 years, but he doesn't really go into detail. So is this number 6 the acknowledgement? And this was his revolution. And as you can see, like the bat here, notice the bat, that's also a Masonic group. And all these groups, the lists, there's all the categories of secret societies, A to Z, and that's within England, but there's many more groups that aren't catalogued here. So this number 6, but there's so much here. So to go back to Chester, so I'm sure you know, if you're a Chester fan, or even if you're not, you'll know that Chester died July 20th. July 20th, yeah. And I've got here his best friend, Chris Cornell, also died in the same manner as his best friend. And what I've found out is that these guys were starting to do charity work with helping children that have been molested. And look at this. Looks very much like AOL, internet, Wall's ice cream, a lot of computer programming, and MSN. And when you look at these, they're stunningly close. You know? And you're probably wondering, why would these big corporations like Wall's ice cream and MSN and companies like this copy pedophile symbols? Well, it's simple. You need to wake up. You need to wake up and open your eyes that people like Jimmy Savile, this is just the start. Do you think that Jimmy Savile, that this is a big story? Absolutely not. This rat, dirty scumbag. Look at the state of this. Look at the state of this. You trying to tell me that this man was around children for 15 years and the BBC did not know? Of course the BBC knew. And people like this communicate by using these in their messages. They use these messages because if anybody would intercept messages, they're just going to find these innocent, common, that you see every single day. So you're not going to be asking questions. So what old Jimmy Savile will do, old dirty Jimmy, you know what I mean? He was surrounded by all these beautiful women that there was probably many women he was around that he never touched, because it was a technical, you need to select certain girls or certain boys. You can't just do it to everybody. You can't just do it to everyone. Like, this is alarming that someone who has this type of appearance and demeanor was allowed to be around children. And this is what people like the FBI are saying here. And I don't know if the FBI are behind this, but there is people that are in the government that are exposing stuff like this. And you've got like the symbol here, and then big companies that use the symbol. Now, I'm not saying that this company are child molesters. I'm just saying that when people like Jimmy Savile, obviously Jimmy Savile's dead, but people like Jimmy Savile, when they use the symbols, that you see it every day, and you you won't be alarmed. But this is the thing. Johnny Rotten spoke out in the early 70s, mid 80s, and he spoke about about Savile. He said Savile was a paedophile on TV, and nobody believed him. Well, everybody believed him within the BBC and stuff, but I mean the common man, they were like, there's no way that Jimmy'll fix it. Like, look how satanic. I know this is a makeup, but this is what he would do to children. You see, he would molest them, and what he would do is cause the mind to split and to have a split personality disorder. And what you do is you give the children LSD, but you try to control the substance. I've read into all this. I've read into all these documents, and yes, these documents can be faked, but one thing about dirtbags and people that are dirty is they leave dirty marks, dirty trails everywhere. Like, have you ever met a girl, or if you are a girl, have you ever met a boy, and there is no paperwork, there's no paperwork at all that's with him, but when you hear things like she's a dirtbag or he's a dirtbag, even though you don't have paperwork to back it up, you still are like, right, I'm gonna look into this, and you look into it and you ask questions. And one thing about dirtbags is they leave dirty marks, just like the British Army in the war in Ireland. The war in Ireland, these SS, they're SS, that's who the SAS are. The SAS are just the SS, death battalions. So MKUltra, you have to give the children LSD, because LSD causes, I don't know if you believe in hypnosis. I've seen my uncle being hypnotized. Me and my mum couldn't be hypnotized, but I didn't volunteer for it. I was just observing, but I tried to pay attention and to get hypnotized, and it wouldn't work on me. So LSD, these creeps give children LSD and molest them, and what to do is to split the mind. But the best subjects, right, listen to me here, the best subjects for MKUltra are children that have already suffered trauma. Children who have already went through trauma are the best subjects. That's through my research. And Operation Paperclip, if you don't know, America after World War II evacuated 1,600 German scientists and engineers and technicians, such as Vernon von Braun, and all these clowns that murdered staff members that weren't working hard enough. All these guys, and you're probably going to say, how do you know that? Because there was dirt trails left behind. Dirt was left behind. Survivors, just like Bloody Sunday. Just like Bloody Sunday. Do you think that the British Army didn't open fire on innocent civilians? Because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that were there that day that survived. So there's hundreds of survivors that have testimonies about how evil these scientists were, putting chemicals in people's bodies, doing all sorts of satanic stuff. So get back into, I'm sorry if I'm veering off a lot, but Chester and Linkin Park. So as you can see, the 6 there, and you'll see the triangle, an equilateral triangle, yeah. So you've got 666 around this triangle, and Linkin Park, what I believe is that Chester was starting the revolt against his handlers. You see, they have handlers. See these people that are, see the children that are molested. They have handlers. They have people that handle, and they're people like Jimmy Savile. People like Jimmy are the handlers, and when these guys die or move on or something, usually the person that was molested will usually die, because they can't be controlled. They can't be, they start to break down. They start to break down because, oh, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. But I'm gonna go into more into this. But the Rockefellers, Operation Paperclip, and NASA, all this links in to the Rockefeller family and Bush, the Bush family. Prescott Bush, George W. Bush's grandfather, funded the Nazis and Hitler. He funded Hitler, and he was from Yale, Skull and Bones Society, and all these high elite are born and then put into these secret societies. So Chester and his best friend, look at this. So died July 20th. That's when Chester was murdered, I believe. July 20th. His best friend, born July 20th. Now, I'm not saying that these guys are satanic because of their birthdays and their death days, but what I'm saying is that these handlers, because they're starting to revolt and to break out, yeah, because this is what they start doing in their albums, and this is what, and this is what their handlers don't want. To start exposing them. Look at the heart with the symbol, the rising sun. The sun. And you've got the same heart, which is the Walls ice cream. Walls ice cream. Walls. Look at that. Walls ice cream. And ice cream is synonymous with child molesters. Any child molester I've ever heard of tries to manipulate children with like treats and ice cream. So just looking at the heart and look at the message, not alone. Like he's saying to all the children, you're not alone. and he's trying to expose him. So I'm about to go even deeper here. So as you can see, the rising sun here, and the rising sun also in the background here. So as you can see, the Egyptians, everything goes back to the eye of Lucifer, and this is all linked Linkin Park. You need to link it up, that their albums, notice, can you see the wings? Can you see the wings? Yeah. Now look at all the Masonic paintings. The eye. And I don't know if this is the Queen to simulate like the royal family, like she's pure. But to continue, there's the wings acknowledging, and you'll also see the wings as an X. You'll also see the wings as an X. And look at this. So if you write your numbers across on a page, 1 to 9, or 1 to 0, sorry, it's 1 to 9, and then put a 0, because there is no number 0, because when you count, like in English we count to like 100, but in every other language, even our language, the Irish language, and some of my subscribers will agree with me, that when you count up the Irish, you never say 11, you say 10-1, 10-2, 10-3. You're actually saying 1, 0 and another number. But here's Fox. You've got Fox Sports, Fox News, all these different 666s. But as I say, the triangle, 666, and you've got the Masonic paintings, yeah. Masonic paintings, and you'll have a triangle with the eye inside. You'll have an upside down triangle. But you'll always find the eye. And you're probably wondering what the eye is. You can see the globe with the snake. These are all secret societies, people. So Lucifer, all goes back to Lucifer. Lucifer meaning morning star, or the bringing light. The morning star. So you've got the light. You've got the light and the star and the sun. Lu means light. Lu means light, and you'll hear Illuminati. Lu, light. They bring light. That's what they believe. Light bringing. Lucifer. And this is the thing, he will be disguised as an angel of light. And I'm just going to go into a bit of Irish history. Look at this. So we have ancient Irish history. Ancient. And Lu was a god. Lu, or Lug, is an important god in Irish mythology, a member of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Lu is portrayed as a warrior hero, a king and survivor. He is associated with skill, crafts and arts. He, as well as with oaths, truth and law, he is sometimes as interpreted as the sun god. Yeah, or the sky god. The sky god. And Lucifer's name, the morning star, god of the sky. Yeah, the name for the morning star. So when you go to Freemasonry, this is very, 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 very important. So you've got the tree with the eye. See the star? You'll see the morning star. And it's always bringing light. The eye is always bringing light. And you're probably wondering, why is it always an eye? Why is it never two eyes? See? The sun and the moon. And the flat plane. So you've got people like Chester that have been molested for years and they're not able to speak about it. But one thing they can do is expose it through their music and their album, like Numb. These albums trying to acknowledge his pain. Look, you can see the B with the 6, and also it's an equilateral triangle. And this is how he exposes them. This is how he's exposing them. Or some dog going crazy, I'd say. But so Lucifer and Lu, there's way more associated, and there's way more. But so this is the thing about the FBI, Fox and the Dragon. You might know as well about NASA. So as you can see, the 666, yeah, Fox, and you know that Lucifer is referred to as like the dragon or like the snake, and it's not a literal snake or a literal dragon. This is metaphorically. Like, I know plenty of people who are snakes and dragons, and I don't like them. So Lucifer, right? And then look at this, SpaceX, dragon. And then who was exposing? This is another guy, Michael Jackson, was exposing Escape. Very, very similar to SpaceX, and he was escaping. And look at this. Like I'm just covering this very, very quickly. Look at this. This is Michael Jackson's album Dangerous. And then you look at the Masonic paintings. So you've got like the, look at this. You'll always, I believe this is Michael here, standing on the palm of their hands. And if you zoom in here, if you can see on the palm, on the wrist, there's a number 7. I can zoom in here. If you can see on the wrist, there's a number 7 here. And I don't know if he was 7 years old or it's the actual group that molested him. The actual list, the 7s. Where is it? See? The 7 Society. So I don't really know about this, but Michael Jackson, if I zoom in here, some of the stuff, I've really looked at this photograph intensively. See the number 7 on the wrist? But can you always remember Michael had the monkey? I don't know if the monkey was some sort of MKUltra where they tortured the monkey in order to get to him, but I really don't know. But in like the Masonic philosophy, the first will be last and the last will be first. So they try to copy, they're satanic, so they try to copy anything that's good and make it evil. So they've got the monkey going in last and this like elephant going in first into like the doorway, and then they're coming out on like a raid, and Michael is coming out forward and the elephant's coming out last. But I don't know, there's like a boy here, but you can see the Masonic symbol. Space. This is all space, and it's designed, space is all designed for you by the government. They want you to see only what they have done. And look at the globe, it's upside down, engineered inside like a factory with all pumps and gas chambers. And of course you've got the monkey on top. But every time I look at Masonic images, you've always got the eye of Lucifer on top. And you're probably wondering, why is it the eye of Lucifer? Well, there's many different theories. Like, I don't truly know, but there are a group of people called the Watchers, and the Watchers were banned from the Bible. This is why I believe that the church have been infiltrated also. The church have been infiltrated. And look at these drawings, it's the same as the Michael Jackson. These small images, he's copying. He's trying to expose, Michael's trying to expose all his handlers through media, because this is how they control you. And I'm going to go into way more detail, but I'll just leave this with you, so I will. And I'm going to get ready for going out for dinner, and I'll show you some of the Masonic lodges. But Um, this is like um, sad that these people died. So I just thought that I should get that out there and just let some of you know. But I hope this recorded. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to go into way more detail in the future. This is only just the beginning, like, because I've got some good stuff. Peace out. Godspeed.